when they went out into the public arena, the studio had brainwashed them or educated them to the point that they had to appear as what they were. Now, which was, I mean, Joan Crawford would have been caught dead rather than be seen, as just a girl. I mean, that's one of the things that made it so fascinating to work in films. I mean, to see Maureen O'Hara, for instance, as a girl that she was, and so beautiful, and then see her on the state occasions, going to the premieres. Also, the studios, you see, had these young girls that came along, and they're under contract to the studios, and the premieres would come along, and they would go to the wardrobe department, and they would be given an absolutely ravishing gown and furs and jewels, go to the premiere, come home, and put all the stuff, would go back to the studio. It was part of the building of the symbol, and the protection of that investment was very carefully policed. And for better or worse, of course, that was a very clever and advantageous thing to do. So they created, I mean, if your life wasn't good enough for, or in their minds, to fit with what they were creating, they just make up your background.
So, but Marilyn was her own creation, don't you think?
Well, everybody goes. Stop it for a minute. Don't go away, man. Throw her a bone.
He's so brilliant.
I loved it.
He's so brilliant.
I love that. It's so fun. Have a good time, kid. I love it. I love it.
Thanks again.
We're so sneak
Bye, Jen. See you later.
Can we start it again?
Yeah.
We're rolling.
When you said what Marilyn was her own creation?
in other words, like the studio didn't put her together the way that they put
it's a mutual plot in a sense. Mae West, I think, really invented herself. I mean, totally invented, because the Mae West that came into films had already been an enormous success for a great many years beforehand in the theatre. She created that improbable probable that she was. Dietrich, it was done in tandem with von Sternberg, but then she became mistress of their own creation, and protected it and kept reinventing it. She kept reinventing herself. Marilyn still had a big studio system to support her. God knows what would have happened if there hadn't been, that's the end of the big studio system. But if she showed up now, God knows where the support would come from. Everybody has to be willing to be part of the invention for it to succeed. Sometimes the invention reaches an absurdity and an unhappiness, like with Jane Mansfield. There became such an unhappiness. But other times they just thrive in it. I don't know whether Marilyn seemed never to be truly comfortable with the responsibility of what had been created.